From Raven Simone's new girlfriend and Lindsay Lohan's sober coach to a sex tape featuring Harriet Tubman.
Say what?
Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
All right. Well, there's never a dull moment in the entertainment world, that's for sure.
Definitely. Here to give us his take on some of this week's craziest celebrity headlines is the founder of the urban gossip and entertainment website Mediatakeout, Fred Mwangaguhunga.
That's me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's so strong. All right. So congratulations on your New York Times feature. That's incredible.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
We've been talking now for about 2.5 months, back and forth. I didn't know how big that the feature was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like maybe a quote, maybe me and a bunch of other people. But the author of the article, she really liked me, and so after a while, it turned into a feature of just me.
What's not to like?
Wow,
well, how validating is it to have your story be featured in one of the most important newspapers in the world?
Yeah, I mean, not only do they talk about me, but they talk about my business, how we grew it, how we grew the traffic. And I mean, there is no better piece of press that you can get than to write up a profile on you and your business in the New York Times. I got it. It's wonderful.
Oh. Well, you already have 16.5 million viewers on your website. I can't imagine what this will do for business for you all.
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially when you're talking about the audience that we have, which is urban, primarily African-American women, a lot of times you really don't get the ad dollars and you don't get the respect, or the audience doesn't get the respect. When you get the New York Times to validate that, I think it really helps us really build a lot of the things that we're trying to build in the future.
And I think one other impressive thing about Media Takeout is that you guys have been referenced by everyone from CNN, NBC, People, the New York Post, even TMZ has referenced you in some of their TV shows and articles. So how does that happen in only 5 years?
Well, I mean, remember, we're a news site, and our business, I think, pretty early on was to focus on breaking celebrity news. So instead of just kind of reblogging and coming up with interesting takes on topics, we decided to invest in putting together a newsroom and building out and trying to break original news pieces. And those are the kind of stories that get picked up in places like you talk about.
Now, you were in the dry cleaning business, so you went from dirty laundry to airing people's dirty laundry. Oh. Where did you even get the idea for this site?
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. I mean, at the time I was in the laundry business, blogging and the world of blogging was just really starting to take off.
Okay.
So we were investing already in some advertising on different blogs. And so when we saw the blogosphere really take off, I figured it was a great opportunity.
You're a businessman. That Columbia school degree helped, didn't it?
It did.
All right, so now let's get to some of that dirty laundry.
Let's do it.
Now, we know you do gossip best, so let's start there.
Yes.
Now, I got a bone to pick with you because the last time you were on the show, you broke the news that Kim and Kanye's baby's name was Cadence Donda West, but now we know it to be Northwest.
Right.
What happened?
It's one of those things out there that we got reports. There were a bunch of different reports out there. We thought we had the right name, but we were off.
But could it really be Northwest and they're just giving, could it really be Cadence as the family name and they give the public Northwest as a name?
Well, I explored that, but we actually got a chance to take a look at the original birth certificate, and it is Northwest on the birth certificate.
You're kidding. I did not want to believe that.
I know.
Yeah, I was hoping there was a family name.
So when someone gives you a scoop, how do you vet it? And then what happens when it turns out to be wrong?
Well,
because you got this from a nurse at the hospital, right?
Yeah.
So do you say, girl, I need my money back?
Right.
I was wrong?
Hello.
Well, I mean, this goes with the business. I mean, a lot of times people will give you information. They think that they got the right information. Sometimes they were fed the wrong information. So it's difficult a lot of times. Sometimes people aren't intentionally misleading you. You do your best. You try and come up with the most accurate news report, but sometimes it doesn't work out. It didn't work out that
Do
time.
you print retractions?
Yeah, I mean, in that case, everyone knew the baby's name was North. You couldn't leave it up there saying something else. We came out immediately and said we were wrong. The baby's name is North.
Okay.
All right, well, now on to another story that's in the headlines. Usher. Now, his 5-year-old son almost drowned last week, and it was in all the headlines. And then his ex-wife tried to get custody, emergency custody, over the child because it happened on his watch. But it was denied. Now, do you think that was because he's the breadwinner of the family?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, when you look at the entire custody situation, it's kind of bizarre, right? Because here is the father that has primary physical custody of the children. The mother's not on drugs. The mother's not, she's not crazy. She's a little eccentric, but okay. and she loses custody of the kids. I mean, there's all kinds of speculation that Usher, because of his power and his celebrity, was able to get control over the kids. He won this case. Maybe it's the same.
But I've also heard that her psychological evaluation was a little shaky.
Well-
and she's trying to appeal that.
You know, people always.
Yes. She said, well, we haven't figured out these machines. They're not always, you know.
You know, people will say that, and you know, I can tell you, I've met the woman, and she does not look crazy to me. I mean, for whatever that means, right?
Okay, well, you think this is a new pattern with the celebrity fathers getting custody? Because, you know, you had it with Dwayne Wade, you had it with Usher, even
Steve
Deion
Harvey?
Sanders, yeah,
Deion
Steve
Sanders,
Harvey,
Steve
everybody.
Harvey, yeah.
So what about this?
Chris Bosh is doing it too. I mean, there's actually one lawyer out in Texas, and he was Steve Harvey's lawyer. He's Chris Bosh's lawyer. He was Deion Sanders' lawyer. And this dude his specialty is getting the kids away from the women.
Oh.
And none of these
What's his
cases.
name?
Well,
We want him on the show next week.
Yes.
right. I mean, he specializes in it. And you look in these cases, none of these wives or these women had any kind of psychological problems. The fathers were able to get there.
So they've got the
Interesting.
right lawyer on their
Yeah.
side. Okay. Well, let's talk about Lindsay Lohan. Things seem to be finally turning around for her.
Right, I mean-
she hosted Chelsea lately and did a great job.
yeah.
She's got a sober coach. OWN is giving her a docuseries. She's sitting down with Oprah. Is this the beginning of a comeback for Lindsay?
I mean, when you look at a lot of the different child stars out there really wasn't a ton of talent there. It was just kind of like cute looks and whatever else. Maybe they were on the right show. But with Lindsay Lohan, she was a talented actress. And you can see her making the kind of Drew Barrymore-esque type of career rebound.
comeback,
And I
yeah.
think that she's actually on pace. I mean, she has a new movie out right now, and the word is that she's been talking to Ben Affleck and starring in his next movie too. So
wow.
she's got the world in front of her. She can stay sober, and Oprah's looking to help her on that. You know, she can take this thing pretty far.
And it worked for Robert Downey Jr. too. I mean,
did.
he was a mess and spent 7 years in jail. And look at him now. So.
Okay, well, speaking of comebacks, you know, it's a good example. Who do you think has made the best celebrity comeback?
Best celebrity comeback.
Yeah. That means they fell off, they came back, and they were able to get back on that horse and work again.
I think it might be Usher. I mean, when you think about it, his career was basically over. He got on The Voice. Not only did he turn around the ratings on The Voice was probably the #1 show of the entire year. Better ratings than American Idol, better ratings than Dancing with the Stars. And now he has a movie coming out, and he has a new album, a new tour. When you look at where he was 2 years ago and where he is right now, I think that's a really, really huge comeback.
Okay, so Raven Simone, what is the deal there?
Yeah.
Did she come out of the closet? Did she peek a toe out of the closet? Was her tweet misunderstood? What's going on?
Right, well,
She said, I can finally get married. What does that mean?
Well, she said that on the day that Minnesota actually overturned their ban against same-sex marriage. So it wasn't just out of the blue. I think there's always been speculation that Raven Simone is in fact a lesbian.
Okay.
Raven Simone does not feel that it's anyone's business, and she purposefully does not talk about her sexuality. She's never denied it. There has been rumors, and these rumors are fairly substantiated, that she's dated a woman in the past.
Who?
She's had a long-term relationship. She was on America's Next Top Model. Her name is Asmarie Livingston.
That's
Beautiful
big.
woman. The two of them had a long-term relationship together. You know, I'd hate to put someone's sexuality on them, right? Because the fact that you date a woman, maybe she has she calls herself something else. She identifies as something else. But she has had relationships with women. She did make this announcement in Twitter. She came back and everyone said that she was clarifying it and that she didn't. She retracted her statement, but she didn't in fact retract her statement. She said that she was not getting married right now, but her statement that she's now able to get married after the gay marriage ban was lifted is in fact still the case.
We're gonna just keep a close eye on this one. But speaking of dating, another couple everybody's been looking at, and you gotta let us know what's going on with Love and Hip Hop Atlanta with Stevie J and Jocelyn.
Oh,
Are they
yes.
like married? Is that a publicity stunt? What's going on?
The two of them are married.
Officially,
They're married?
on paper.
Officially,
In the court.
legally, paper. She put papers on him. He's married.
Wow.
You were kidding.
Yeah, it's the most bizarre scenario. I mean,
Wait,
Say
so
that
but
again.
so we saw the season finale.
Right.
He proposed to Jocelyn,
Right.
and then he gave Mimi, his baby mama, a promise ring.
right.
And then Jocelyn beat him up again. And then in the reunion, they didn't talk about being married or not. So you're telling us that they're actually legally married?
They are legally married. I think, remember, this is reality television, and it's always nice to have a reality wedding. It worked for Nene Leakes, it worked for Kim Zolciak. So you don't necessarily want to, if you're married, you might want to hold off on putting that out there until you know whether or not you're going to get a show. But I can tell you the two of them are in fact married. They would love for Mimi to join their non-traditional relationship as
They
a,
went
as a
sister
third part.
wives?
Well, that's what Stevie J is
Wow.
looking to get.
Oh,
Like
of course he is. That's what he's had all along. Why change it?
Right.
And if he doesn't, how long do you think this relationship will really last?
You
Until
know,
the season's over? The next
Generally,
show?
I mean, with most people, I would think that that there's no chance of this. But the two of them are equally wacky enough that they might just actually make a perfect couple.
She has what our boss calls crackhead love. Eugenia said.
Oh, crackhead love.
They're just so passionate about each other. Only like crackheads.
Right, like Bobby and Whitney,
Like-
right?
Right. Well, okay. Well, before you go, what other news can you break for us here? Tell us the scoop.
We got to talk about Russell
Oh, I
Simmons and
forgot.
Harriet Tubman.
Okay, we'll go there
what-
first.
Harriet Tubman in a sex tape. Why are those words in the same sentence?
Yeah.
This is a very odd and bizarre scenario. I mean, Russell Simmons, he partnered with DreamWorks to form a new digital venture, which is called Def Jam Digital. They were going to produce original content for the web. So they launched it. There was a big hullabaloo, and they launched their first ever digital property, and it's called the Harriet Tubman Sex Tape. The idea behind it is somehow it's a comedy sketch where Harriet Tubman, her and her husband,
Master.
or her and her
Master.
husband come up with a scheme on how to get,
okay.
how to be free. And the idea is that the two of them Harriet Tubman would have sex with the master, and the husband would videotape it, and then they would bribe him into freedom.
Interesting.
There's
a little
nothing
disturbing.
funny in the premise. There's nothing funny. The jokes of it aren't funny.
No. And
How
actually,
anyone could even make that thing, and how Russell Simmons could look at that and think that it's okay.
right.
Not only from the pitch, but then he actually sees it in the final form. And instead of saying, this is just ridiculous, it's wrong, it's
So
disgusting.
fundamentally disrespectful.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you expect the fallout to be?
Well, Russell Simmons, immediately he pulled it from his site. He issued an apology. Right now, he's taking a huge beating on this. And, who knows exactly where it's going to go, but I can tell you what, they're not going to have any of this kind of garbage on their site.
damage is done.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other news to break before you go? 'Cause we have...
Well,
Come on now, drop a jewel.
A little
Let's
scoop.
real quick.
A little scoop.
let me think.
I know you have tons of things you can tell us.
Yeah,
so.
nothing off the top of my head. It's not coming
Oh,
out there.
come on, Fred.
It's clogged.
All right, next time you're not coming back unless you got some juice to drop. All right. Thanks, Fred. We appreciate it as always.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.